Hey y'all, this is Erica with Students of Life Podcast. If you're finding value in the Students of Life Podcast, we'd love your support. Your support allows us to grow and continue bringing you meaningful content. You can show your support by checking out our exclusive merchandise at studentsoflifepodcast.com. Every purchase not only gives you something unique to wear, but also directly fuels the podcast growth. Prefer to donate? That's cool. Just hit the donate button on our homepage. Every bit of support helps us expand, reach more listeners, and dive even deeper into the topics that matter most to you.
Welcome to the Students of Life Podcast, and I'm your host, Courtney, and with me is my other host, Erica, my lovely wife.
Hi.
How you doing, wife?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. We hadn't sat here in a minute.
It's been quite a while.
Yes, it has. Do you feel good being in my presence again?
Oh my God. No, but I think you feel great being in mine. I see the light in your eyes.
No, it's the other way. You glowing today.
I glow anyway.
Oh, damn, it's just the lights. Okay.
I glow anyway.
So, is there anything special going on?
Right now?
Yeah.
Let me think. Not really. We're just busy. We're busy making moves. We are very busy.
But let's not forget, we hadn't posted it or said anything about it, but right now we are at 12,000 views as of this recording right now.
12,000 downloads.
Yeah. Sorry. 12,000 downloads.
Yeah.
And in 1 month.
Yeah.
In 1 month, we hit 12,000 downloads, and that's
it's an accomplishment.
That's a hell of an accomplishment. So, I know no one is here, but I'm going to clap for us. Thank you.
That's a dad in you, ain't it?
Yeah.
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 I probably should have hit the clap button for us on that one.
That's all right. Don't worry about it. You might hit the wrong one. Don't worry about it.
I think I just might, because I don't remember which one it was.
But we have new equipment. We don't want to play with that right now.
Yeah. It'd be kind of like playing, what was that guessing game?
Guess who?
Not guess who, when you got to flip the cards over. It's not like goldfish. What is it?
Memory
or whatever it is.
That's what it's called. Memory.
Old Maid, whatever it was. It was something like that.
Damn, Old Maid. It was memory.
Okay, whatever.
Matching. What makes you feel better about it?
Yeah,
both the same game.
It's fine. Okay, we'll go with that.
Oh my God.
So, let's get on with this episode today. What are we doing today, sweetie?
Today, we are talking about limiting beliefs and the lies that you have built your life around, pretty much.
Yeah, that's a deep one.
It is.
We've had discussions about this one over the years, but maybe not as in depth as we're going to go into with this episode, though.
No, I don't believe so. But, I also think that, when you have people like us who have both become life coaches in some way, the conversations that we have had throughout the years, they come back up, as you're studying and you're learning and you're navigating your way through clientele or whatever, right? And although in the past we didn't call them limiting beliefs, we've discussed all of them in some way.
We have, and I would say that they've become so normal that sometimes it becomes very difficult to even identify them sometimes.
Yeah, you have no idea.
Yeah, it becomes, if I would say, like, how it makes sense of it, like a computer, it become part of our default operating system.
It does.
That's what it's become.
Uh-huh.
And so we don't really know how to recognize it. And so it's hard to navigate at that point.
It is. And I think a lot of people aren't aware that they're living by limiting beliefs, because that's, these kind of things, they start like early in your life, like during childhood, then adolescence, your teenage years, and your adult years. And then God forbid you become one of those people, who carry your past with you and take into your next relationship, because now you're teaching your husband, your wife, your significant other, your children these things. And a lot of, the limiting beliefs that we're taught are hidden in tradition.
So before we continue, give us the definition of that.
Absolutely.
Of the limiting belief.
So a limiting belief, they're essentially negative or self-defeating thoughts that limit someone's choices, behaviors, and opportunities. They can originate from childhood experiences, negative feedback, or self-criticism. Limiting beliefs can lead to self-sabotage, avoidance of challenges, and lack of motivation.
Yeah.
So to sum that up, right, you could say that your limiting beliefs could be a very big reason why a lot of us suffer with depression.
You know, we had this conversation. You asked me, it wasn't too long ago. You said, hey, Courtney, you know, when do you think that we began with these limiting beliefs? You know, when we started having them.
Mm-hmm.
I said the moment we're born.
Yeah, I said that was a little bit dramatic. But
And you said incorrect. It's exactly what you said. You said that's a little bit dramatic. I said, but it's the truth though. And it is, to me, it's the truth because the people who've given birth to us, they were living with limiting beliefs and they pass them along too.
They do.
You know, so they didn't have, so say for instance, if you were given birth by someone who didn't have much belief in themselves, they're going to pass that same limiting belief that they had into themselves onto you, onto the child too. And so it looks like it's a very normal thing and it's not normal at all. So we've normalized dysfunction to a degree.
So what you're saying is limited beliefs, that they're not necessarily isolated problems, right? They're masked by things that we see every day because we've been taught them, correct?
Yes.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly how it happens. You know, from the moment we're born, you know, they are passed on, you know, say for instance, like in school, hey, you believe based off your performance, I'm not good enough. You know, I just don't perform well. Mm-hmm. You carry that on for the rest of your life to a degree. You know, most of us do. We don't know how to shift it or change that because no one intervenes and says, hey, that's not true, kid. No one ever stops us from doing this. It's just, as if I said before, it's become too normalized and we got to learn how to combat that to a degree. And it's not easy. It's not an easy thing because it's not very easy to identify. And one of the other issues is that they look like, as if you said, isolated, right? Mm-hmm. They're not as isolated as they appear, meaning they branch off. It starts with this one thing, but that one thing, just like a tree, turns into many different things, you know, as far as the limiting belief. So the limiting belief takes root and creates a life of its own. And we'll definitely get into that in this episode.
Okay, so I guess if someone were to ask, you know, Courtney, what's a limiting belief that you live by? Or what's one that you had to break? Like, what would be your number one limiting belief that you had to break to become who you are today? Like, what belief do you have to let go of?
Well, as an adult, you know, coming out of high school, it was definitely the one dealing with not getting a bachelor's degree. It would have been that one. And I want to speak about this one, not just because it's a Courtney thing, okay? Because a lot of people deal with it. So in my working career, it was like, hey, I didn't feel like I was possibly good enough, though the more the years went on. And because I had the skills and the abilities to do what I needed to do, but since I didn't have a college degree, the doors were closed. So what I instantly said, you know what, Courtney, you ain't good enough. And so I had to change, you know, or I would say I had to pivot. And so the college degree made me feel like I wasn't good enough, although I had the skills and abilities.
I can see that.
So that was the one, but it also created other issues too. Those issues were created out of that one belief. It looked isolated, but I didn't really pay attention to the other issues that it caused as well. And the crazy part about that is when I say I had the skills and abilities, yes, I did. It didn't matter. Although, you know, I had a barrier to entry for what I wanted, but I had the skills and abilities to get there.
So you thought that not having a bachelor's degree meant that you could only go so far in your career. Like, even though you had all the technical know-how, right? You had all of the physical skills and ability, the technical skills and ability. Having that piece of paper made a huge difference.
For me, yeah, in that moment, yeah, it did, because I did get my certifications in web development and graphic design. Mm-hmm. I did those, but jobs looked for you know,
the 4-year degree, right, or whatever.
That's what they looked for.
Yeah,
and so I can even, you know, be looked at because of that. And And since I couldn't be looked at because of that, what I ended up having to do is I had to learn how to pivot. And what it did, I'm like, I started to choose jobs that I knew I can get so I didn't have to lose.
So what did that pivot look like to you exactly? I mean, I hear what you're saying about, getting jobs.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But how did it play into your everyday life?
Well, let's put it like this. What ended up happening, the first part of what you asked, what did that pivot look like?
Yes.
And that pivot looked like, okay, I can't get the jobs that I really want. So I need to at least get the jobs that I can get. Mm-hmm. But what that did, I started getting those jobs. And even to this day, any job that I had an interview for, I've never not gotten a job.
Yeah.
Out of 20 years, I've never not gotten a job that I've interviewed for. But what that did too is that I was able to get the jobs, but it made me reach for something a little bit lower.
Low hanging fruit.
Correct. I reached for low hanging fruit. And then when I reached for the low hanging fruit within my jobs, I didn't realize that throughout my life, what was going on, I was reaching for low hanging fruit all along. A lot of other things, I was reaching for low hanging fruit, the things that they created a conflict within an individual, because a lot of people deal with conflicts. And so what the conflict looked like was this right here. Reaching for low hanging fruit, but wanting big things in life.
Yes. Yeah, I think that happens to a lot of us, actually.
But it don't work together. Those two things don't work together. You can't reach for low hanging fruit, because what low hanging fruit looks like too is minimal risk taking.
Yeah.
But big things require big risk.
So the low hanging fruit leads you to avoiding risk out of what? Fear of rejection or something else?
Yeah, but it leads into that. So say for instance now, what you can't deal with is rejection. Mm-hmm. You want the low hanging fruit. You was really reaching for that because
it's easier.
It was easier, and you were tired of being rejected from the get go.
Yep.
So you actually want to do something that actually makes you feel good.
Yeah.
That actually makes you win. But what we need to do, understand this part about it too, is that there's nothing wrong with that. I don't want people to believe that, oh my God. Sometimes we hear these things and we latch on to it. But that ain't what this is. Maybe it worked for you at one point in your life, but we hold on to it too long.
You got to know when to let it go.
You got to know when to let it go.
Know when to throw that towel in.
Yes. Yeah. Know when to transition over into the next thing.
Yeah. Know when enough is enough.
Right. This does not serve me anymore.
Yeah.
Like say for instance, okay, that served me at one point in my life. Yes, it did. It really did serve me. It got me to where I needed to be. It gave me the skills and the abilities, but I didn't realize that I was holding on to it too long. And a lot of people need to understand and realize that as well.
Okay, so then let me ask you this question, because I think they're related. I could be wrong, but in my mind, I feel like the fear of rejection can also come from a fear of maybe not being heard.
The fear of rejection. Yeah.
Because in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, right, if I'm not being heard, then they don't believe I'm capable of X, Y, and Z thing, right? Which is, in a way, if you don't think I'm capable, then in some way you are rejecting me.
That is possible, for sure. But that's an issue all on its own, though. And I got a question for you, because I understand that you just asked me a question. But is this right?
Ask a question with a question?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to. Do you think the fear of being heard, of not being heard, is a limiting belief? Or do you think that that is caused by something else?
I think that is caused by something else. I think a lot of people who have a fear of not being heard and not being able to speak up, that stems typically from their childhood. When you're a kid, you got parents say, just go play. Oh, grown folks are talking. Don't interrupt. Or you're being pushed away at school. Oh, just go do your work. Like don't worry about asking that question right now. You'll figure it out. Just go sit down. So if you're told from a very early age, pretty much just go away, or whatever you need to say or whatever you need to ask is not important, I believe you grow up with that.
Okay, but because we're talking about these branches that we created, mm-hmm. and we're going to get back to this, but say for instance, like the previous part, that fear of not being enough, as far as just, like within the job aspect, not getting that degree. That was the fear of not being enough. Then it made you reach for the low hanging fruit. Then it made you avoid risk. Then it made you overall fear rejection. Fear rejection as a whole.
Yeah.
It created like this plethora of other issues that was never isolated. So
it was a domino effect.
Correct. It was, but we never talk about it like that. And it's always interesting. And so this goes into what you're saying now, like the fear of not being heard. When you have that fear of not being heard, the next portion of that, what it creates is poor listening abilities.
Yes, it does. Well, I don't. That's a good point, but I feel like that's a twofold point, right?
Okay, what's up?
I feel like that we have the poor listening ability because no one ever listened to us, right? And then now it's like, okay, just tell me what you want me to hear, and now I'm impatient, right? It's like just come on and spit it out so I can go about my day. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So I feel like, again, this is another domino effect, right? You have the fear of not being heard. Then you got, so because I've never been heard, I don't have to voice these things. But because of that, I also don't know how to listen very well. If I'm not listening, now I'm impatient, and I just want you to just hurry up. Just hurry up, right? Tell me what you got to say so I can move on, so we can move on from this. And then from that, it kind of goes into because I wasn't heard, when someone listens to me, now I need to make sure I'm always right.
But I think that portion right there is the most dangerous of what we're getting to, because now that actually has an effect on all relationships. Mm-hmm.
It does.
Like, say for instance, say for instance, like you or I, we're in a marriage, right? Did you just say perhaps? The hell is that? Perhaps, man. Look here.
I'm sorry. I was like, go ahead. Yes, we are in a marriage, 13-year marriage. We are. Yes, sir.
But you did say perhaps, though.
Actually, I said sometimes, but go ahead.
Like inside of movies, like the movies when, they just hit somebody in the throat.
Oh, are you advocating for domestic violence on this podcast?
No. I'm just saying I do like it though. I like when they hit the little shot to the throat. That's all I'm saying. And also in movies, some things just happen off screen, and you don't know what happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Some of that off-screen stuff. Yeah, I like off-screen stuff. I feel like some off-screen stuff happening tonight.
Mr. Lewis, you seem kind of violent tonight. Are you bothered? Are you okay? Is your spirit vexed?
Yeah, it is in turmoil right now. But like I'm saying, we're in a marriage, supposedly anyway. Since we're in this supposed marriage, let's imagine one of us always wants to be right. Yeah. That creates a very big issue.
It does.
Because it goes back into the inability to listen to anybody else's issues. Mm-hmm. How can we ever come to any resolution to any of our problems if I, Courtney, always want to be right?
We can't. We won't.
Because then if I always want to be right, then that means I'm actually never listening to you.
Correct.
So whatever grievances that you have, I can never address them properly.
Right.
Because I'm always right. No matter what's going on, I'm the right one. You're not hurt. No, it can't be. Because I'm right. And this right here comes from the inability, that inability to listen for sure. Even though that's not the beginning of it, it's the fear of not being heard. The fear of not being heard creates this large branch of issues that's very difficult to recognize.
So you think that
it shapes our behaviors.
So you think the fear of not being heard has the potential to turn somebody essentially into for lack of better words, a bully. Like I'm always like Matilda's dad. I'm right, you're wrong. I'm big, you're small. Yeah,
I mean, big time. And even if you're not a say for instance, a damn bully, I don't believe that you can develop the way you, and I'm speaking from this from a family man, okay? I'm speaking strictly from being a husband and a father. I can't properly lead my family if I always want to be right. I got to hear y'all out too.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, because you guys have your own personal issues. You're your own human too. And if I always want to be right, then that means I'll never be able to listen to you and direct this family the way that it needs to go. And me speaking to other men out there, you can't always be right. You do have a wife that needs to be heard. You have kids that need to be heard and directed on the right path. And you can't do that always wanting to be right. So I'm telling y'all, that fear of not being heard, especially if they're generated as a kid, yeah, that needs to be addressed.
Okay, so then let's move into this next point then, right? Always needing to be heard. Do you think that also creates the limiting belief or false idea of perfectionism? Like your need to be perfect?
It does. Yeah. Hands down. Yeah. But that need to be perfect, that comes from
People pleasing normally.
People pleasing. Hold on. Okay. Why do you think that?
Well, my thing is this, right? I'll just use me for an example.
Okay.
You know, our listeners know I don't believe in perfection. I think it's bullshit. But I've also never been a people pleaser, right? Most people who have people pleasing tendencies, they need to be perfect to not cause any rift in anything or any drama. They want to be perfect. They want to do everything right. They want A to B to C to D to line up perfectly where they are involved. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that comes from a fear of rejection or a fear of failure or something else. And in your need to be perfect, you're normally overcautious. And external validation is always needed. So that is why I say I think they kind of play off of each other.
They do. Well, we need to say, again, this is a part of me always dislikes that, we always talk about what generated from childhood, but so many of these issues.
It's true.
But it's true.
That's where it starts.
It generated from childhood and it went unchecked for far too long.
But think about it. If you're being honest, though, sometimes it goes unchecked for an entire lifetime.
It does.
For a lot of people.
And so what you're saying is like people pleasing, but that's like more jumping right into it, into the middle of it. It is not the beginning of it. So the beginning of that, because that's part of a problem, that's not where it begins at. Where it begins at is that need to be perfect.
That's what I said.
Early on. But that comes from, say, for instance, a parent that wants things to be perfect early on.
Yeah.
And so you shape and morph who you are based on how that parent operates.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, you have parents you have children, but they can't have toys anywhere but their room or a playroom. God forbid they come back to the living room or the kitchen, because now your house is a mess. You're acting a fool about it. You know how they are. A lot of older parents were like that. Everything had a place. Everything at a time. You know what I mean? Or either you have people who, like me, my early life, right? Nothing beyond straight A's were acceptable. Nothing. Like Regina was hell bent on principal's list every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And I can honestly say, because of that, I believe that is why I'm such an overachiever today. That is why something is never enough. Right? And I don't think that it created like people pleasing tendencies for me or a need to be perfect. What I think it did was it created an air of, I got to do this. And when I do it, I got to be the best at doing it, which is just an overachiever.
And with that, what I noticed with you, when you don't get it the way you want to,
it pisses me off.
It pisses you off, even though you're not supposed to be good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you've never done it before, no, you're not supposed to just jump in like, oh, I'm great at this thing.
Yeah.
That creates issues too.
It does.
And more than the reason it creates issues, because now the people who are good at it, you impede on them. you can get in those people's way sometimes because you think you're supposed to be good at a thing. You know, and you're not supposed to be good at it, but you can easily get in somebody's way.
I mean, I'm saying like if by
I'm not saying that you have, but I'm just saying
if by the second attempt I ain't got it, something wrong. And now whatever system you got right here is broken. Let me show you how to fix it. So I'm sure I have gotten in someone's way before.
Yeah.
But now, I will say to my credit, when I do that kind of thing, systems do normally change because I'm lazy and I find shortcuts and easier ways to do it.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. But all I'm saying is when people develop a life of a skill and ability, your second, third time is not good enough. That's what I'm saying.
You're right.
You're not good enough at it. So don't be mad and get in other people's way when they develop skills and abilities.
Why are you reading me for filth on this podcast episode, sir? Why are you putting on my business out here?
I'm not putting your business out here. I'm just saying what it would happen. That's all I'm saying. What would happen? Because I'm pretty sure people out there do it and have done it. That's it.
Don't use me as your example.
Well, don't be in my face then. Okay? Let's move this equipment so you can talk from behind me. How about that? That's where I'm at.
So I think it's safe to say that limiting beliefs create chain reactions, right? Like a domino effect through your whole life, right? Pretty much saying that without realizing it, without noticing it, your limiting beliefs, they touch every aspect of your life in some way. They have an effect on you, everything you do, and those you come into contact with. And you don't even realize it.
And what we were just saying, don't you know, say for instance, that kind of perfectionism, because no limiting belief is identical to somebody else's.
Right.
It can also, so say for instance, if the limiting belief is the need to be perfect, even though we know it's not true.
Right.
We know it's not true. But yours don't look like mine, and the branch creates, it's a different kind of branch.
Correct.
So say for instance, your perfectionism, looks different from mine.
Yeah.
It created a different kind of branch.
Yeah.
But that idea of needing to be perfect, it definitely originated from childhood.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, I'm not going to say that it gets under my skin, but that need to be perfect, because say for instance, you have a parent that's overly, just want things their way. What that creates in a child is that shapes them and molds them to just get the hell out of the way.
Mm-hmm. To retreat into themselves.
Yeah.
It also, if folks don't talk about enough, is the fact that is why you have a lot of anxious adults around here. It started when they were younger. Or
say, for instance, as an adult, you think that, your perfectionism is you just always wanted to have it right.
Mm-mm.
Your idea of perfectionism is not because you want it to be right.
Mm-mm. Somebody gave you that.
Somebody gave it to you. Mm-hmm. And now you just shaped it and molded it into something else.
You were shaped it, molded by it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the darkness right there. Now that is the darkness. Yeah, and that's what I, as an adult, when I look at it, and people think that they're a perfectionism because they love what they do. Sometimes you're a perfectionist because of that damn perfect mother that you had who wanted things her way, or your father who wanted things just his way, and only their way.
Their way or no way.
And so you believe it's because you love what you do. That ain't the case. That ain't true.
It's not, not only is it not the case, but I think what people don't realize they do is you take that air of perfectionism and you apply it to something that you can perfect. That's why so many people are perfectionists at work. Because work has systems. It's an organization. It's an ecosystem. It's already built for you. And once you learn it, it's not hard to be perfect. It's very, very easy to be perfect at work.
It is.
So so I can show up at work. I can be A1. I can be the best of the best. Employee of the month. 12 months running.
Yeah.
I can be my boss's favorite. I make their life easier. But yeah, whose life did you make easier? Growing up, whose life did you learn to make easier?
Correct.
That's where it came from.
That's where it came from.
But we don't see it. Because, a lot of shit from our childhood we put out of our head. You don't think about it until you become much older. Much older.
And we don't even think about it. Most of us don't think about it then.
You're right.
It's us overthinkers that do shit like that. I say we're overthinkers to a degree.
Who, me and you?
Yeah.
You think so?
Okay, I say me. I mean, you think a lot, but I think a whole lot.
Did you just slick call me dumb beneath you?
I did not do that.
Kind of what we're gonna ask our listeners. It's kind of what it sounds like.
That is not what I'm saying.
We're gonna put a poll on this one. Did Courtney say that Erica was beneath him or cannot think?
Okay, well, what we're going to do right here with this is say this right here. You have always said, Courtney, you think too much. I never would have thought about that.
I do. I call you a big brain boob every day.
Yeah, you do that all the time. So most people don't think about stuff like this, or unless you want to go get information from Tony Robbins, then you will know. But outside of that, we don't think about it all the time.
Yeah.
But to that example, what you were given, that people please, at work, now that goes into people pleasing. That's a people pleasing aspect of that.
It is, and that is it's like a micro belief, right? Something like that.
Yeah, well, it feeds in. It's not a micro belief, but it feeds into it because it's all a system. We need to understand that it's a system as a whole, and based on how it works. And the reason I'm saying that is because some of these issues that we deal with and that we face is, say for instance, you're at work, but you don't want to raise your hand. You know what I'm saying? That's part of a limiting belief. We know you don't see it because what you don't see is that you're good enough to raise your hand.
You're afraid to speak up.
Yeah, you're afraid to. There was this woman, Erica. She did a TED Talk, but she was the COO, I think, of Meta. She was the COO of Meta.
Like Facebook Meta?
Yeah, Facebook Meta.
Okay.
Yeah, but she did a TED Talk, and that TED Talk was about, the fear to speak up or not raising your hand. Mm-hmm. And within that, she was pretty much saying how most women in these groups, even when they're qualified and when they're deserving of it, they never raise their hand. And only if and until you raise your hand, you can be heard. And so that is a limiting belief, the fear of, like say for instance, not raising your hand because you fear that you're not good enough to be where you are. But that was a very good talk though. And you should definitely listen to that one.
So that's a great example, right? But then you have the other side of that. A lot of people do, both men and women, but it's the over explanation at work, right? Mm-hmm. Where like, I need to make sure that you hear me and that you understand where I'm coming from. Like if I don't explain myself, then you won't see my value. Or if I don't go into detail about what I've done, you might miss a part of it. When in all actuality, those thoughts can be reframed pretty much, right? And it can be me being quiet doesn't mean I'm invisible. Like you should have confidence to know that your work speaks for itself. That you don't owe everyone an over explanation to be taken seriously. If they didn't think you could do the job, your ass wouldn't be there at the job doing the job.
Correct.
Or here we go. Ooh, here's a good one, Courtney. Here's a good one. People who choose emotionally unavailable partners, right? Thinking for some reason they don't deserve a deep and consistent love. Someone who truly cares for them. You have people out here who feel like I'm just going to accept what I can get because that's all I deserve, because that's all I'm worth, when that is not true. You don't have to go for the dude who's been swept under the rug or the girl who smells and looks and acts like she just came out of dumpster trash.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Keep going.
That's one of those things where if you take time to reframe how you feel about yourself, then it would be easy for you to say, I'm open and I'm ready to receive good things from these people, or I'm open and ready to receive genuine love. But that goes back to being invisible, like we said earlier, right? That goes back to the fear of speaking up. That goes back to the lack of self-worth. All of those things have a domino effect. And I know we're talking about work a lot, but it happens in relationships a lot too. Friendships, significant other, family. These limiting beliefs, they have a way of getting into, like you said, every single aspect of every single thing that you do. And they slowly from the inside out destroy your life. Like it's not one of those things that are that are put up front or that are posted on a fucking billboard somewhere saying, hey, look at me, these are my issues. You don't know. You know, it's because they've happened incrementally throughout your entire life, but they started so damn early, you don't know a difference.
No, you don't. I want you to do this. We just so people can get an idea of, you know, some of these limiting beliefs. You know, like say for instance, like what we were discussing, like say for instance, one of these limiting beliefs is I'm not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then the other one is I'm too old or too young.
Mm-hmm.
Or another one would be I don't have enough time. And it goes into what you're saying. So say for instance, we use like don't have enough time and these beliefs that we put on ourselves inside of a family. If I don't ever feel like I have enough time, then it means that I don't feel like I never have enough time even for you or the things that I need, you know, to take care of, even within, you know, need to take care of for myself so we can be better off.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's being able to identify, you know, some of these limited beliefs. I think we really struggle with that. And with what you're saying, like these micro issues,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that we're having. And one of the biggest things that we need to be able to do is identify where we come from.
You know, now that I'm sitting here thinking, there's one that you still suffer with today. And that is you feel like you can't rest until everything is done.
What do you mean?
Example. Say you have something to do, right? And you can do some today, some tomorrow, and then some on Monday too, right? You feel like in one day you have to get everything wrapped up in a nice, neat bow so that your mind can slow down so that you can rest.
Okay.
All right. So meaning that you feel like you have to, in some way, you have to earn that rest that should just naturally come to you anyway. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to earn the right to rest. Me, you, or anybody else. And because of that, you know, but I've had this issue too, though, right? Because I travel for work a lot, right? So my whole thing is my day is not done until I'm back home. Like, perfect example, Tuesday. I drove to St. Louis and back in one day. Drove to St. Louis, had a meeting with clients, came back home that night. I left my house at like 7:30 that morning and made it back at 9:30. Right?
Okay.
But I feel like I use an example, but I think a lot of that stems from the fact that you, like me, are an overachiever. Right? So it's hard to turn your brain off and settle down and rest peacefully if you know there's still shit to do.
But I don't think that's a limiting belief, though.
You don't?
No, that one right there, I don't. You know, because this becomes a question: what is the separation between sometimes just character traits, and a limited belief? What's the separation between that? You know, say for instance,
I think it's a fine line.
How do you identify? Hey, that's just who he or she is, versus no, that's just a limiting belief. And are we supposed to dig deep into that? Because I don't believe that that's necessarily a limiting belief.
I didn't say it was a bad thing, though.
I know, I'm just saying, but I don't believe it's a limiting belief. Sometimes it can be, misconstrued.
So you don't think in some way, and I'm not saying this is you at this point, right? I'm just saying, you don't think people that believe that everything has to be put up in a nice, neat little bow before they deserve to sit down and rest or sleep for the night is a limiting belief?
That's
what I was saying.
Yeah, in that regard, if it's that extreme, then yes, because that's perfectionism,
right.
to the utmost.
Right. And no one has to earn the right to rest. That's just something that you need.
Yeah. But say, for instance, if it's under the guise of perfectionism, then yes. And I know everybody hate Elon Musk right now.
Oh, he's a piece of shit. Okay.
Right, you know what I'm saying? But say, for instance, he had so many companies and he did so much work within them. Do you think that was a limiting belief because he did all that work in all those companies? Or what Steve Jobs did? He was a perfectionist, which was the guise of a limiting belief? Is the reason why he operated and worked the way he did, or was he just wanting to achieve what he wanted? Is that a limiting belief, or is that just character traits?
I just said I think it's a fine line.
Yeah.
I do think it's a fun. Okay, so then here's another one. Then, how about someone who always compares their timeline to somebody else?
Okay, like
I'm 29. I'm not a CEO yet. I'm not married yet. I don't have children yet. I'm 29. I'm still in college. My degree's not finished. So now I'm behind everybody else.
that's the issue.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
You know, but and I think it's important that people learn how to, because a lot of our listeners, we have found out recently, they're younger than us,
So
right? So it's important for them to learn how to reframe that thought alone, the I'm behind part. I've heard so many people, like even my clients, right? A lot of people say the same thing. Eric, I'm behind the ball. Like my cousin's doing this, my sister's doing that. Or either these people at work, they've achieved so much more than me. We're the same age. I'm behind.
So that seems like that is people have an issue with their worth
I would say so.
based on where they are. Is it where we would kind of like put that one at?
Self-worth?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, maybe a little bit. I think that me comparing myself to those around me is actually, it's a form of self-degradation, right? Because I can't possibly be good at shit if I am not as good as those around me, my counterparts. Same age as me, they've accomplished so much more.
Okay, so that limited belief it goes into the, based on, too much time. Say, for instance, too much time has passed. I'll never be good at that.
Exactly.
Or you know what? I'm too young and I hadn't, achieved what somebody achieved after, putting in 20 to 30 years of work. I'm not where they are.
Right, but you're not supposed.
You're not supposed.
You shouldn't be.
You're not supposed to be, unless you're operating on some really good systems.
And
it's possible. Now it is possible.
Now, if they're operating in systems like that, I guarantee you they are somewhat running their lives like a business.
Yeah. Well,
to be that far, that quickly, you have to.
You can.
You have to.
But that's kind of, what we do anyway. I know we mentioned it before.
To us?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we mentioned running your life like a business and, us having that service. But that's just a way, running your life like a business is really just a way of operating just a tad bit different.
Yeah.
Updating old systems that don't serve you no more, because we mentioned that before.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned it before, earlier, I know that I said it, that, I was operating in a way, or people operate in ways that with systems that don't serve them anymore. It served me at one point in my life, but I didn't realize that it was not good anymore. Mm-hmm. And we didn't realize that. So running your life like a business is just a way of updating yourself on new strategies, because you cannot move forward with old beliefs.
Okay, so then let me ask you a question then. We'll just speak in terms of a family, right? We use our family as an example. What are some old beliefs that you rid our family of to make our lives run more like a business?
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a loaded question, ain't it?
I'm not going to say it's loaded, but, you kind of put me on the spot with that one.
You're welcome.
But one of them is to sit down and talk with the family on a regular basis. That's one of them. To sit down and talk with the family, just so we can always see how and where the family is. Mm-hmm. To do that on a regular basis. See where you are, see where the kids are. Even a 4-year-old, he don't say much.
Just hear he tell you, I played Mario Odyssey.
Yeah,
I beat Bowser.
Right.
I read a book.
Yeah. Yeah, he said, that's where he's at.
That's where he's at. Mario Odyssey and reading books is all he really cares about right now.
But that's one of the it's not the only thing, but it's one of the things that we've definitely done, and it definitely changed how we operate as a family, and then another one is this right here, how we communicate.
Yeah.
Say, for instance, if you running something that's successful, you can't have bad communication and be successful at it.
Correct.
You just can't.
Communication matters.
It matters where everybody needs to be heard. That's one of the the biggest things that needs to be done, but it's shaping, and updating our beliefs. Say for instance, understanding and letting everybody know that no, you are good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, there are improvements that you can make. Yes, there are. And say for instance like this. Because I told you this for many years that, this was me and Trail. We're artists.
Mm-hmm.
And so we learned how to take critique a little bit differently than everybody else around us. And even when I brought that to his attention, he was like, oh, that does make sense. And what is this right here? Is that when you are a creative and an artist, you take a lot of critique, not criticism. There's a difference. Taking a lot of critique on improvement. And so what that did within the family is I taught my family how to take critique, to know that it was not to put them down, to put you down, put the kids down, or even when you guys have to do it to me. That's just part of how you got to operate, because you can't get better without critique. You can't think you're good at everything. That's not how it works.
Right. Critique, not criticism.
Yeah. Critique, not criticism.
Mm-hmm.
Because with critique, it's saying that you got areas in which you can improve.
Mm-hmm.
So when I made that adjustment for us, that's exactly what I did. It's looking at those things that make something like a business run successfully as possible, and then adapting it to a family situation or scenario. And not making it as mechanical, because, we still got a lot of human elements involved in this, but it's only looking at what makes it good.
And I think a part of learning to make things good also helps you form a sense of empowerment in some way, right? Because once you sit down, you have these conversations, the more you talk, the more you come to realize that what I have to say is valuable. What I have to say matters.
Yeah.
What I have to say, Courtney or Erica will take into consideration. But even with Jade, right? She's very heavy on the, mommy, I want to talk to you. And, and I know that when she comes to me like that, then she got some real shit to say.
Yeah.
But the fact that she is 12 years old and she knows she can say, mommy or daddy, I need to talk to you, and that she'll be heard, that gives her a sense of empowerment that even adults don't have.
And within this, operating system, because that's what it is. It's an operating system. And one of the biggest adjustments, I ain't gonna say it's adjustment, but changes that we had to make as a family was definitely that listening aspect, and making decisions. Say, for instance, not making a decision or a choice based on just how I feel, but knowing that choice or decision is rooted in the outcomes for everybody else in this family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big portion of where we lose, within our family dynamics, is that, we get so, rooted in how we feel, we don't realize that who and what we are and how we're making that decision is me as a husband is affecting you. Okay, I might have benefited from it, but what if it hurts you?
Right.
Now it hurt the whole home.
Right.
So say for instance, if I'm operating within limiting beliefs, within something that's not true, it's going to affect everything around me.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go for it. You good?
I'm going to ask you a question. So how do you think that looks when you have a family, right? Or just a partnership, right? Mm-hmm. Man, woman, 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 man, man, however your dynamic is set up, right? How would you say people deal with that when one partner has grown, but the other hasn't?
Divorce.
Damn.
Leave them. Leave her.
That was swift.
Yep.
You didn't even let me get it all the way out of my mouth.
Okay, you can still continue though.
Jeez.
I had Tourette's.
I mean,
I had to say it.
that was an outburst, not Tourette's. But I mean, I understand, and it's like, I think a lot of times we get so caught up on how much we care about somebody, how much we love somebody, that we forget, if only one of you are growing, baby, your relationship is not growing.
No. You're
not going anywhere. Your system, your ecosystem that you're supposed to build or should be building is broken, which that would be like you have a business partner and that business partner is not doing their part. They can't show up for you the way they need to.
Can't.
Buy them out. Buy them out and move the hell on. If you can't buy them out, just sell the whole goddamn business and start over.
But that's kind of like run your life like a business idea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. But based off that question, yeah, that's how I see that one. When I say divorce, I do mean that. I mean, but when you make the commitment, of course, you got to put the work in.
Yeah, of course.
So I don't want people to believe that this is not about putting the work in. This is still putting the work in.
I don't know, bro. You kind of, you said divorce in all caps. I ain't never heard nobody say a word in all caps before.
Yeah, because people try to, believe you should hold on to that just because you're married. I don't believe that.
I mean, neither one of us do.
Yeah, I don't believe that. Because you can't stay on a sinking ship.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't want to go down with the ship.
Yeah, you don't want to go down with the ship. There's no reason to do that. And a lot of people have done that in our lifetimes that we've seen. They stayed on sinking ships that didn't benefit them.
Our parents and grandparents are great examples of that.
Yeah, but we ain't getting into that on this. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
They should have ran their life more like a business.
Oh, I think they should have and everybody else should have too.
I don't think everybody's capable, but
yeah, it might not be capable, but but to take the philosophy and do it, yeah, we should definitely, incorporate what that means.
I mean, shameless plug. If they want to learn, they can always hit you up. That's what you do.
No, it is.
Being a strategy coach, you can teach them how to do it.
Yeah, I'm available. I have recently gotten more people on, so if that's what if people want to see better, I can definitely do that. I mean, that's one of my gifts.
So I guess overall, what we're saying is if you want a different life, you need a different mental system running it. You need a different frame of thought, right? You got to change what you've always done.
Okay, yeah.
I'm asking you.
Oh, you asking me? No.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if that's a question, then yeah, you have to, but I believe it's difficult because we don't really see the systems that really run us like this right here. And this is a question to you. Until it's not just because you're with me. Okay.
Are you patting yourself on the back right now? You do that shit every episode.
I'm not trying to do that this time.
These folks gonna think you a narcissist. You in love with your damn self.
I don't care what they think. You're not going to give me limiting beliefs on that one. Not at all.
I love that.
Nope.
Okay. I love that.
Nope.
That's fair. Okay.
No. So is this. Say, for instance, if we weren't together, would you have thought about these systems in this way?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like, I have the ability to see a lot, but even the a lot that I see is not the same way you see.
Yeah.
Right. So I think for us, it's our, honestly, when we view things, 9 times out of 10, they're polar opposites, which is why it works.
Yeah, it does.
Like we bring completely different things to the table. Sometimes you're like, Erica, what the hell? I'm like, Courtney, can anybody do that in real life? And then somehow we meet in the middle and we're like, oh shit, it's working.
Yeah, because if there's a problem, there's always a solution.
That's what you say all the time.
Because I believe it. I can't see it no other way.
Well, I was going to say you haven't been proven wrong yet, so I'll give you that.
Yeah, if there's a problem, there's always a solution. If there's a challenge, there's always something that can be put in place to overcome it.
I'll give you that. I agree with that. Absolutely.
Look, just because I don't know it right now, I will know it. I don't know how to build a rocket right now.
Reading enough books.
That's a challenge. Give me some time. I'm gonna build that rocket.
You can be like Elon.
Yeah. Yep, I can. But, also, it's these systems that we don't understand that they're far reaching sometimes. And these limiting beliefs aren't just an inner issue. These limiting beliefs are outer issues too. They're outer issues, so it's the idea of how the world is shaped around us. It's how we see the world around us too. Mm-hmm. And this right here. And I'm going to bring this up because it really did piss me off.
If I did it, don't talk about it.
Oh, no, I'm going to do a whole episode without you on that one. Then I'm going to load it up. But, but not today. Not today. But it was this right here. It was with episode 7. It was with the episode we did with Ashton.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It was the episode we did with Ashton.
That pissed me out too.
And this one right here goes into the limiting beliefs and how limiting beliefs shape how you view the world. And we put an ad out there, to promote that episode. Mm-hmm. And it was a woman that that was under that post. It was a white lady.
Yeah, older white lady.
Yeah,
Ragged
white lady.
ass.
And what she put under there, she said, ghetto trash murderer.
Yeah, didn't even know our nephew.
Didn't even know him.
It was highlighting his academic and athletic accomplishments. That is a fantastic kid.
Yeah.
But because he was black, she assumed he was a ghetto trash murderer.
Yeah.
Stupid bitch.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
And so it's shit like that, you know, makes you view the world different. So limiting beliefs aren't just how I feel about me.
No.
My limiting beliefs is how I see you. You know,
Yeah.
the moment I see you, I can't see anything outside of anything bad or negative,
Yes. I can't see the world any other way.
any other way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if I see another culture, if I see somebody of Latino descent, and
Oh, they're dirty Latinos.
Yeah.
That's what people love to say.
yeah,
They love to say that stupid shit.
right,
Like, these folks' house cleaner than probably most of ours.
yeah.
Like, so where do you get that from?
So it's that narrative that has been placed out there, that's been put in our face, and we just go with it.
Mhm.
So say for instance, those limiting beliefs aren't just shaped by the people who raise us; it's shaped by the world around us too.
Yeah.
So the media has done a good job at shaping our limiting beliefs too.
So it's almost like a mental filter, right? That forces you to see the world through your fears and not through facts.
Always. I think it's majority of what we've experienced is, especially, you know, when we're dealing with things like this, is we see the world mostly through fear in some way. So it'll be like what I believe these systems are built off of. Just stick with me on this one. It's, say for instance, I think we got like 4 systems, the ones that we're the most common with. You know, the family system, the education system, religious systems, and
Financial?
no, not financial, but media.
Media. Okay.
But media. We got those 4 systems. And those are so dangerous because they all overlap.
Yeah, they do.
They all overlap in some way with our life. So, which is why it's so difficult to break the programming. Because let's put it like this. That's exactly what this is. These beliefs are programming. And so we got to really work on not being programmed no damn more. You know, it's hard. It's hard to see that. You know, just like that woman. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be difficult for her not to see the world like that.
You know what that reminds me of? You can say I'm reaching, that's fine. But you remember,
Reacher.
I learned from you. But you remember, I forgot which Avengers movie it was, but where they went to see the Collector.
It's Guardians of the
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
You remember how they had like all these creatures and shit in the little
Tubes.
tubes and glasses or whatever,
Yeah.
the little mini prisons or whatever. I feel like that when you have like that white lady,
Mm-hmm.
when you have those kind of limits and beliefs, you're shrinking yourself into just a very small bubble and very small, I wouldn't even call it an orbit, but a very, very small bubble, a very small cage. And you're doing that because you'd much rather live in your fear than to try to find facts. Because had she just listened to that episode, she would have heard our nephew's a fantastic child.
Yeah.
That he has been a good child his whole life, never been in trouble his whole life. And he's going to the top wrestling college in the U.S. So she should watch her words. I almost said something
Right.
to get us canceled. She should watch her words.
And he was very articulate.
He was extremely
very,
intelligent.
Yeah, intelligent, articulate.
Yes, he speaks better than most
And you're right.
adults out here.
Only thing she had to do was listen to the episode to find out.
She could have listened to the first 10 minutes of that episode and known that Ashton was completely different. But instead, she let her fear and her limits and beliefs say that boy was something that he's not.
Yeah. You know, so this is not just a private problem. You know what I'm saying? You know, these are walls that you build up all the way around you. And it takes work to break those down, to realize that you have been operating in a form of truth that will benefit you and the world around you.
You know, I agree with you. It takes work, but it also takes accountability. You got to own that you live in bullshit.
Shit, that's the issue with most of us anyway.
Humanity as a whole. Nobody likes accountability.
Yeah, nobody likes accountability.
A lot of folks don't like us.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Just being real, like
Yeah,
anyone who has ever had a problem with us is because we made you stand on your bullshit.
yeah.
That's it.
But that's what students of life is. I mean, you got to face these things. You gotta
Yes.
face these issues that you're confronted with. And, you know, say for instance, with this episode, I was not going to bring that up until that happened.
Oh my God.
I was not going to bring that up, because this episode was already in the works.
Yeah.
But I put this in here because we need to understand that limiting, because this right here, limiting beliefs are normally talked about only in this way, from an inner issue. The question is to you, Eric, is this right here. Do you know why we only talk about it as an inner issue?
No. Why?
Because that's the only thing they sell. The coaches always talk about the inner issues.
Yeah, they do. They never discuss how your inner issues affect everything around you and the outside.
They never do.
They don't.
They don't.
They sell you bullshit.
Right. Because it's to sell more.
And that's something that I will say, and I'll toot our horn for this, right? That's something that as coaches that you and I do often. We show people the big picture. Like, this is the big picture. And this is the role that your dumb ass is playing in this big picture. These are the systems and the people and the things that you are breaking because you won't fix yourself. Like, you are the sun and all this shit going on around you is your fault. You're keeping all this in play and all this in rotation. So yes, you have inner issues, but your inner issues are affecting everything around you.
Yeah. So say for instance, like that woman, right?
Yeah.
We use her for example. I'm pretty sure she got kids, but
she was old, but she got grandkids too.
But say for instance, she put that limiting belief onto her kids too.
She did.
So
she did.
That limiting belief right there was given to her kids, and there's a big chance that it's going to be passed on.
That's at least for sure. Well, she was older, so she had from her parents too.
Yeah.
So that's what 3 generations ruined.
Ruined, gone.
Hate for no damn reason.
No damn reason at all.
Stupidity.
Yeah. So, what this is that limiting beliefs is just a invisible architect that that's been built up around you, by a conscious design. That's really what it is.
I agree with you. And I do want to say I have a challenge for people who, this time we have a challenge for y'all. Anyone listening, I want you to identify one limiting belief. I want you to map the chain, where it came from, where your dominoes started and where they fell. And then I want you to break one link in that chain this week. I want you to attempt to break it. If you don't know how, DM us, message us. When this is posted, comment on it. We'll walk you through it.
And even if you don't, this is what I'm going to read off to you, okay? I want you guys to know what is a limiting belief. It looks like saying I'm not good enough, I'm too young, or I'm too old, I don't have enough time, I'm not smart enough, I don't have enough experience, I'll never be successful, I don't have enough money, I'll never be one of the best, I'm not talented enough, I'll never be a great leader.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just so you have an idea of what it is, so you can properly map it to something, to something that you're doing, so you can try to work on overcoming that one thing right there. But always remember and know that one thing has created a branch into other aspects of your life. So go back into the episode and look how it branched off into other issues. Hey, can you so we just, before we end this episode, let's talk about how that branch looks one more time, babe.
Okay. So,
like what it leads to from one section,
from one thing to the other.
Yeah,
all right.
One thing to the other. Yeah.
So look, we're going to map it for you real quick.
Yeah.
Right. We'll just go back to the fear of not being enough. That then flows into you having a low hanging fruit mentality, meaning that you take what is the most easiest accessible, even if it does not serve you.
Correct.
Then that teaches you to avoid risk, which in some way leads to fear of rejection. Then you could possibly have a fear of not being heard, which now you have poor listening skills, which leads you to being impatient. And sometimes because you're not heard, when you are heard, you feel the need to always be right. Then you have perfectionism, right? You want to be perfect. And because you want to be perfect, you're overcautious, meaning there may be a risk you should have taken that you didn't take because you wanted to wait it out, see what would happen a little bit longer. Being overcautious can typically show people-pleasing tendencies. And then from that, might become addicted to external validation. So these are just a couple of examples, and, if I could tell you anything, I want to tell you that I'm pretty sure you have a belief that's been steering your life from what we Courtney and I call the back seat. So it sits right behind you. It's a dark passenger, if you will. When you're driving, you can see it in your rearview mirror. But I want you to pull over and I want you to ask yourself, do I still believe this? Or am I just scared of what's on the other side? Do I still believe this? Or am I just living on autopilot? Do I still believe this? Or am I afraid to take the next step? At the end of the day, you have to remember, everything you do is a choice.
It is. And a lot of these limiting beliefs are invisible systems that we live by. And that's what makes them so dangerous. That's what makes any system dangerous, or successful. I think these are like successfully dangerous. If I was saying anything, they're invisible, but they're very dangerous. But you need to be able to identify this and sit up here and honestly tell yourself or ask yourself, are these things I believe because I believe them? Or do I believe this because somebody else gave it to me? So identify that. Ask that question. Work on it. Because if you can't identify it and you can't work on it, then you can't update who you are today, and you'll be operating on an old operating system that no longer serves you in this day, in this time, in this era. So you have to update who and what you are. Leave the old stuff behind, become something new today. Create new and better beliefs for today. Because for whatever limiting belief you have, you also have another side, which is the truth. So say the limiting belief, but also say what's the truth to that as well. Because there's two sides to this one.
Yeah. And again, if you don't know the truth, reach out to us.
Yeah.
We'll talk you through it.
All right. So we appreciate everybody for listening to this episode of the Students of Life podcast. And I appreciate you for being on point in this episode, my lovely, lovely wife.
I'm on point every episode, but thank you, baby.
Oh, okay.
Like, subscribe, leave us a comment, tell a friend to tell a friend. Hell, tell your mama and them to listen.
This has been the Students of Life podcast. Live and learn.
Life is a lesson.